Earlier in the P's, we talked about frequency, but it needs to come up here again. If you want to change people, it is really unlikely you will change them with one interaction. It's frequency, sending a kid to public school every single day for 12 years. It's frequency that drip, drip, drip leads to people changing. Totally different topic, but still on this idea of how do I go from someone who is unchanged to someone who's changed, is thinking about the funnel. Now you can visualize a funnel, I'm sure, but here's how it works in marketing. For money and effort, you can put undifferentiated people in the top. And at every step along the way, with every click, with every interaction, as they go down the funnel, many of them leave. At each step, you lose folks, right? And then at the bottom, a few people come out. Those people are your changed customers. We need to think hard about your funnel. Is your funnel too steep? Meaning that there are too many steps along the way before someone becomes changed? Is it too wide? Meaning that you're putting way too many undifferentiated people at the top, but huge numbers of them leave because it's leaky? That doing the funnel analysis, how many people do I need over here before I get the right people over here, will help you figure out what you're spending money for. And getting it right can change everything. If we look at the web just 4 years ago, the number of steps you used to have to use to sign up for an online service was long. Now it's email address and you're in. Why would someone do that? They're doing it because they've done the funnel analysis and they've realized that the sooner they get people toward the bottom of the funnel, the more chances they have to change them. And that the time to ask them lots of hard questions is later, after they're hooked, not at the beginning when they're unsure of what's going on. Next, beginning with letter H, hype. Hype is what we call unreasonable publicity. Hype is when someone talks too much about something and we end up being disappointed. So this is where the mass marketing thing kicks in. Because if you're measuring column inches, if you're measuring how often you're being talked about, if you're measuring how much publicity you get, but that the cost of that is raising expectations and disappointing the people you end up touching, you have failed. You have failed because when something is super hyped, people go in primed to be disappointed. When instead, you can lower the number of people who are showing up, right? Offer them something surprising, delightful, overwhelm them with goodness. They are then more likely to go tell other people, eliminating the need for hype in the first place. Lifetime value analysis is another bit of math that marketers have to do. Lifetime value analysis means if I add up the profit that I'm going to get from every transaction I will do with you forever, and add to that the profit that the friends you bring me will also contribute, I now know what you as a customer are worth. So 15 years ago, 10 years ago at Amazon, Jeff Bezos figured out that each customer was worth at least $33. Well, years later, it's easy to see how he was underestimating it. But let's just say it's $33. If $33 is what a new customer is worth, that means that if I can do a marketing spend where I get new customers for $27, I should buy an infinite number of them. That once he could tell everyone at Amazon the number, anyone at Amazon could buy customers as long as it was less than $33 each. So sponsor of the Super Bowl will do the math. How many customers will it get me? Run an ad on this website? Well, it depends. How many customers will it get? It's a very simple piece of math. But if you can't do a lifetime value analysis, you have no idea how much to spend. So the goal, particularly if your product is going to be talked about, is to spend as much as you need to get those first group of customers in. Because even if you don't make a lot on them, owning that sector of the market makes it more likely they talk to other people, makes it more likely the word spreads, and then leads us to the next word, a movement. Is the marketing effort you are trying to lead going to become a movement? Most marketing can't, but some can. So if you're seeking to make a movement, you need to look to religions, nonprofits, major brands that have changed things, political movements, say, what did they do? What did Gandhi do? What did Mandela do? What did King do? That when we see how movements are organized, they're often exactly the same. So you can then build that in to the way you are going to build your brand, your marketing outreach. That if you're trying to truly change people, one of the symptoms that you have changed people is that within a small group of weird people, you have created a movement. The next idea of changing involves money. Money as an affiliate, where you are getting paid to send someone somewhere else, and money in a bounty, where you are paying people to bring you someone. And we see this, for example, in insurance websites, travel websites, things like that. It's a little bit like MLM, but slightly different. But the key is you're putting money on the table based on the lifetime value analysis and say, if you help me bring somebody in, I will pay you. Now, there's a big challenge here. And the challenge is that when someone gets paid, they act differently, right? Think about going on a date versus paying someone to go on a date. Changes everything. So you have to get your arms around how will people act? How will you change people when you put money on the table? It is not a casual tactic. It's something to be thought through really deeply because people are going to act differently regardless of what your lifetime value is the minute you start paying them. ROI is our second to last acronym. It stands for return on investment. When I buy this many units of attention from you, how many customers am I going to get? It goes right back to lifetime value. And we can't measure the ROI of most good marketing. I cannot measure the ROI of investing in a great designer to make the design of your product better. And most of the time we don't have to. All we have to know is it's in the black. It's in the good section. That paying a designer $100,000 to redo a supermarket's look and feel is a bargain. Because I have 50 supermarkets. Obviously, I'm going to earn the money back. Don't bring the accountants in. Just spend the money. On the other hand, if you're busy buying trackable, clickable ads on Twitter, you better believe you can measure the ROI. And if you're not measuring the click-through, if you're not measuring how much it's costing you to have a chance to change someone, I fear you're wasting your time and your money. RFP is our last acronym, and it stands for Request for Proposal. An RFP is what happens when a company sends out a note to everyone they can find saying, we're interested in buying something like this. This is what it needs to have. Bid on it. If your business is built on answering RFPs, you are not really doing marketing. Because what you're doing is you're waiting for the customer to announce what they need, not what they want. And if you're in the need fulfillment business, sales are a lot easier if your price is the lowest, but you're going to get yourself cornered. That the opportunity for marketing is to spread the idea enough that people decide they want it. So if I think about a wedding photographer, to pick a really banal example, if you are waiting for a bride to say to 10 wedding photographers, I'm getting married, make a bid, you're never going to be able to do the work you want to do. You want to be the only one in the category, not one of many in the category. If you want to change people, you need to be able to change people who want to be changed. You cannot do that when you make a commodity. You cannot do that when you are waiting for the RFP. And the last one in this section is trust. The easiest way in the world to change someone is for them to trust you. It is almost impossible to change someone who is skeptical. It is almost impossible to change someone who is afraid of you. So what that means is there is almost no way to overinvest in being trusted. That when we think about all of the angry stories on Consumerist and other sites where they talk about being mistreated, when we see all the bad corporate customer service, when we see people hiding behind the fine print, they just don't get it. What they don't get is this: if you are trusted, everything else will take care of itself. You must earn that trust, you must maintain that trust, but you have to invest first and last. That what we get to do if we want to change people is be in the world as an agent of change. And the agent of change who is welcome will always do better work than the agent of change who is chasing people around and yelling at them. Thanks.